Good morning, guys. It's a great day. It rained all last night. We really need a good rain last night. I live out here in the state of Missouri. Let's see if anybody joins me this morning. So learning these great new tabs. Okay, and then let's see how that works. Let me try to... here we go. Let's see if I got that right. Good morning, Miss Holly. How are we doing this morning? Let's see. It looks like we got 2 people that joined us this morning. I only see 1, though. I'm still learning to see. I'm in my driveway, guys. I just dropped my daughter off. Seems like our driveway is the turnaround, I guess. Or something. It's been a great morning. It's been a very... My daughter wanted to ride her bike to school this morning. But it stormed all night. And it's supposed to storm all day today. And you can't tell a little 6-year-old why. Hey, Miss Grace. It's good to see you, honey. Are you still down in Clinton? Or did you finally get moved up here? I sure do miss seeing you. Here, I'm going to put this down because I don't know if the wording and stuff gets put on my face or not. I don't know how that works or how it... I'm still new at this Facebook, guys. I'm not one of those that spends hours and hours and hours on Facebook. I do try to come each morning about 8:30, 9 o'clock, right after I drop my daughter off. I have my devotions in my car. You got to take care of yourself, guys. The thing is, if you don't take a moment to reflect, get ready for the day, it helps me go over what I need to do for the day. So I love dropping my daughter off, and then I go grab me a McDonald's drink and something to eat, a hash brown or something. And then I take about 20 minutes to reflect, do some devotions, reflect on what God has for me today. Of course, I have to make a schedule on what I have to do today. Sometimes... I have a lot of responsibilities, so sometimes organizing my day helps me focus. And then I come on here every morning about, like I said, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Hopefully I won't go over today, but I really want to start allowing people to reach out to me, talk with me, share words of wisdom. I think it's important. I believe that God encourages us to do that. If you don't like the fact that I'm a Christian and I talk about God, that's okay. You don't have to watch me, but I'm not going to apologize for it, and I'm not going to change how I do things just because some people are against talking about God. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people. I believe that I need to share my faith. I grew up, like I said, in foster care. And if it hadn't been for my faith in God, I think I'd probably be in a mental institution right now or dead. I probably wouldn't have had my children. I probably wouldn't have gotten married. I probably wouldn't have had such a beautiful home. God has directed my life. He has put me where He's put me. He has blessed me, I believe, fully because of my obedience to Him. And I say this because I was very distraught when I found out by 2 specialists before I got married that I would never be able to have children. Just not going to happen. I was so internally damaged from the rape at the age of 5 and the gang rapes and stuff at the age of 7, that from ages 5 to 7, that I was so internally torn and damaged and scarred. They told me I would never have children. It would be impossible, even if I tried. so I was really distraught about that. And when I got married and I told my husband that and I showed him what the doctors had said, we prayed, just like Hannah did in the Bible. God bless us. We'll give our children back to you. And within a month of being married, lo and behold, I'm pregnant. And so I go to see the doctor, and he's like, I guess you're right. It doesn't matter what doctors say. If God blesses you, it's going to happen. And I have 8 children in heaven. I've had 2 sets of twins and a triplets that I miscarried, and then I miscarried in between each of my pregnancies. So don't feel like God can't bless your life. And I believe God blessed me with children because it was the heart of my desire of my heart. And I believed that because I have been so obedient and following Him and being obedient and putting Christ and God first in my life and being obedient to what He teaches, I believe God put a blessing on my life. I believe God has always blessed my life. Does it mean I haven't had trials and tribulations? No, that's what makes me stronger. Well, and I tell people this, God has allowed me to go through certain things in my life. At the moment, you don't really understand why you're going through it, what you're struggling, why you're struggling, what the struggle is coming from, and sometimes the questions of asking why. Stop asking the question why. Just start asking the question, what can I learn from this so I can move on? Okay? Because here's the thing. When people go through things, they want to look for people who also have gone through things. I can counsel more people on different subjects and different things than a normal counselor. Why? Because I've lived and breathed it. So, when you have people who have a miscarriage, I can relate to that. Why? Because I've had 6 or 7 miscarriages. I've had the burden of and the pain of losing a child. I've had the burden and the pain of living in foster care. I've had the burden and the pain of grief and loss, of abandonment, of feeling those feelings. So now, one thing I can't really relate to is a divorce. I've never been divorced. See the difference, guys? When you're looking for somebody to help you, why do you think God tells us overcome evil with good? Overcome the evil in our lives with good. How do you do that? What exactly does that mean? Have you ever really studied your Bible and all of the different things that God tells us? My thing is, to me, that is my life verse, overcome evil with good. Why? Because I had a lot of evil in my life. A lot of evil. Okay? And a lot of people go, well, how can you love God when so many evil people did so much to hurt you? How can you love a God that allowed that to happen? Okay? So let's reflect a minute. How can I do that? Is it God's fault that there's evil people? Is it God's fault that, He gives us the freedom to make choices? See, God is a gentleman, for one, and He doesn't push His teachings on us, and He doesn't, He allows us free will. Free will. Okay, we all talk about freedom, we all talk about what our choices that we make. God has given mankind free will. Okay, that free will, man chooses to do right or to do wrong. Okay, God allows mankind to make those choices. Those people that hurt me, okay, those evil people that hurt me, they didn't do it in God's name. They did it in their own rebellious free will state of mind. Okay, so I don't blame God for that. I blame that person for that. Okay, and God's made it very clear to me that those people that are wicked and evil and do evil and wicked things, they will be punished for it. Maybe not here on this earth, but they will someday be punished for the things that they have done to me. Now, do I allow them to control the way I think? No, absolutely not. Okay, that's why God gives us free will. My free will is to choose whether or not I'm going to be good or evil. And I choose to be good and obedient to what God teaches. Yes, a lot of people who are abused are traumatized and they turn to drugs and alcohol and sex and despair. I chose not to do that. I chose to forgive, not for their sake, but for my own, so that I could move forward in my life and not allow those abusers to have one little inch of power over my life. Not in my mind, not in my body, nothing. Why? Because I have the same free will that they have. Okay? So, it's not God who allowed them to do it. They chose to do it because they have free will. Okay? So, I don't look at it as God allowed them to do it. I'm sure God in my life was up there going, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. These people are so evil. And He's protected me many, many times. And He's, there's many times I could have died. And God was there for me and protected me. So, and I believe I've seen God work in my life. I've seen His hand in my life. He's allowed me to do things that I think it's only by the grace of God and a miracle. My son is a miracle. My son, who's autistic, he's 3 years old. He's a miracle. And all of my children are miracles because they told me I wouldn't be able to have children. Every single pregnancy, they just scratch their head, shake their head, and go, we don't know how. We don't know how. And I'm like, I do. My third daughter, Faith, was born completely deaf. She couldn't hear. And for the first 6 months of her life, she was completely deaf. Couldn't hear. We took her to specialists. There was no problem with her ears. She was just deaf. And we prayed over her, asked God. I started learning sign language, started talking to the two older children about how we're going to have to change some things for their sister, trying to prepare, trying to get ready for raising a deaf child. I started researching because I've never dealt with deaf children before, and I wanted to make sure my child was safe. So I prayed and I prayed, and then one day I walked past her crib. We've been praying with her, anointed her. We took her to the church and had the church pray for her. And I walked past her crib. I dropped something. I can't remember what it was. I think it was some papers or something. And it was loud enough that she jumped. And I called my husband up at work and I said, I've been banging pots and pans, and she's awake, she's noticing it, she turns her head, I think she hears it. And my husband's like, oh honey, no, she's probably just feeling the vibrations, blah blah blah. And I said, no, she's actually crying. She never cried before. And it wasn't that it was an actual cry, and she wouldn't stop. And I said, she's never done this before, I don't know what to do. And so we set up another appointment to go see the specialist, and we took her, and the doctor's like, I'm going to do this one last time, but don't you dare bring her back because she's deaf, just accept it. And I was like, I'm more than willing to accept it, but I'm telling you, something's different. And he did the test, and he comes back in, and he goes, I don't know how, I don't know why, but her hearing is perfectly fine. She went from being completely deaf to perfectly fine. And to this day, she's perfectly fine. Faith is a miracle. Why she was born deaf? Don't know. Why 6 months later she regained her hearing? It's called prayer. It's called believing that God can do anything. And I have always believed that. And I have seen God work in my life. I have seen the touch of God in my life. And I continue to do that. So that's why, even though I had a bad bringing up and I had a very difficult, evil time of people molesting me, hurting me, beating me, hurting me really, really bad, in the name of the fact that they were preachers, Sunday school teachers, One was a school principal of a Christian school, and people like, how can you love God when people who claim they love God abuse you? But you know what? Just because they claim the name of Christ doesn't mean they're Christian. You know, a lot of people in our churches, they go to church, but they don't know the God that you and I know. They don't know God. They proclaim God, but they don't actually know God. You know, and when they go before God one day and God casts them out and they're crying and pleading, look, I went to church and I did this and I did that. And God's going to say, I don't know you. I don't know you. Just because people go to church doesn't make them Christian, doesn't make them Christ-like, doesn't make them people that are doing right just because they go to church. You got to remember, people that go to church are human beings that make mistakes. They're also human beings who sin, and they are only saved by the grace of God. Doesn't mean they're not ever going to sin. Okay, so just because you go to church, just because you claim the name of Christ, doesn't necessarily mean, people, that they are God's children. Okay, and so my faith, my strength, my belief is absolutely personal. Okay, I don't believe in a religion, even though my husband and I are attending a Baptist church. Mine isn't about a religion. Mine has always been a personal studying of God's Word and knowing what I believe by studying to show myself approved. It is important, people, that you study your Bible. And if you go to a church, make sure that that pastor is preaching what that Bible teaches. Because if he's not preaching from that Bible, and he's not preaching what God teaches, then you need to find a different church. Okay, people? Because here you are, going to a church, you're supposed to be being fed by this preacher, and if he's not feeding you the right foods, and you're not getting fed right, then you need to find a church that is actually going to feed you what God teaches. Okay? And I have a husband who's a pastor, and he's great. He's absolutely Bible-based. He's, you know, and there's things that he and I have discussed many times where, you know, I'm his helpmate. He'll listen to me. I give him advice. And that's the key, people. We're not perfect. We're human. We make mistakes. We make choices. Why? Because we all of us, have free will. God has given us all free will. So my question, even to my children, to people that I work with, what are you going to do with your life? Are you going to allow your abusers to have power over you? Or are you going to have your own free will and take your own power back and make the choices and the decisions for your life, for you, and have that personal relationship with God for Him to direct and for Him to be a part of your life? So I choose, with my free will, to be obedient and study to show myself approved, know what God teaches, and trust me, I'm not perfect. I know that I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to, you know, if you ever get to the point where you think you know it all, you might as well get you a burial plot and go be with the Lord. Because when you get to that point when your attitude is, you can't teach me anything else, and you can't teach me how to be a better person, and heaven forbid, I'm still learning this Facebook thing, and I keep getting these pop-up things in front of me. I'm assuming you guys can't see it, but it irritates me because it's like right across my face. So I apologize. And I'm kind of rambling this morning. I'm going to try. My daughter told me to, if I'm going to do this every morning, possibly she thought it might be smart to allow somebody to come up with an idea of what you guys would like to study or what you guys would like to talk about. And because if I'm going to start doing this, I think I would like to maybe have like a Facebook thing that says words of wisdom and talk about God, talk about what He teaches, because people aren't doing that anymore. People are not teaching what God teaches. Okay, it's a feel good, make your life easy. No. You know, if your toes aren't getting stepped on and you're not learning what God teaches, you need to find somebody who can teach you. And I'm willing to teach. I'm not one of those persons who thinks she knows it all. I don't. And I'm willing and open to get words of wisdom, criticism, by all means. I'm not the type of person who thinks she knows it all. Okay, because I don't. Not at all. So, God bless you guys. I'm going to call it a day. I've got a lot to do today, and I stayed pretty busy. But I love the Lord. I love my children. I love my husband. I love my church. I love families. I really love foster kids. And I'm here for those who need help. Today I know it was a ramble day, but you know what? Sometimes we just need that. Just a little bit of praise, a little bit of loving the Lord. I'll talk to you guys later. You have a great and blessed day. Instant message me. It may take me a while to get back to you, but I always do. God bless you, and you have a great day.